Captain Susan Miller took a deep breath as she stood before the Galactic Council. This was the last time she would face them. After months of talks that went nowhere, her patience was gone. The Grand Room, with its crystal walls and floating platforms for 37 alien species, went quiet as she prepared to speak. "For 3 months, we have shown you proof of Voraxian attacks on our outer colonies," she said, her voice firm. "For 3 months, you have ignored our evidence and asked for more while our people die. Earth has told me to inform you that we are leaving these peace talks right now." Ambassador Skatal from Centauri, the only friend humans had in the room, watched sadly as Susan turned her back on the council. This was a big insult in council customs. The Voraxian group, led by the proud General Drath, could not hide their pleased looks as the humans walked out. When the doors closed, Council leader Ilara spoke to her close advisors about what they all knew but didn't say. They had made a big mistake about how strong and determined humans were. Their spies reported that Earth had been hiding new technology they made during their years alone in space. That night, as Susan's ship left the Galactic Nexus Station, Lieutenant Alan Brooks got a secret message from Earth Command. Operation Umbra is now active. All ships to planned positions. Back in the council room, the aliens argued about what to do next. "The humans are bluffing," said General Drath, his scaled skin reflecting the blue light of the room. "They have only 20 warships. My empire has 2,000. Counselor Ilara wasn't so sure. "You've been wrong about them before, General. Their ships may be few, but our spies say they're hiding something. What could they possibly hide that our sensors wouldn't detect?" Drath laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. Ambassador Skatal spoke up then. "I warned you all. Humans don't give up. When they're backed into a corner, they fight harder. You should have listened to their complaints." "Your friendship with the humans clouds your judgment," said another counselor, a jellyfish-like being floating in a tank of green liquid. On Susan's ship, she looked at the stars through the window of her small room. She touched the communication panel on her wrist. Captain's log. Day 92 of peace talks. Final day. The council has made their choice, and now we'll make ours. She paused. "I hope we're doing the right thing." Alan Brooks knocked on her door. "Captain, we've received confirmation. All fleet elements are moving into position. The Voraxians won't know what hit them." Susan nodded slowly. "I tried, Alan. For 3 months, I tried to make them understand. All we wanted was for the attacks to stop. All we asked for was to be heard." "The council has been corrupt for decades," Alan said. "The Voraxians pay them well to look the other way." Susan walked to her desk and picked up a small hologram projector. She turned it on, showing a destroyed human colony. Buildings burned while bodies lay in the streets. "My sister lived there," she said quietly. "The council saw this evidence and did nothing." Alan stood straighter. "The Voraxians think our ships are outdated and few. They have no idea what we've built." "I never wanted war," Susan said, turning off the hologram. "But they've left us no choice." The ship's engines hummed as they accelerated away from the council station. Behind them, the huge structure glowed against the black of space, home to a government that had just made the biggest mistake in its long history. In the darkness of space, other human ships waited. Ships that no alien radar could see. Ships with weapons no alien had ever faced. The silent armada prepared for war against an enemy that still didn't know the truth. Humans had never been as weak as they pretended to be. The real power of Earth was about to be revealed, and the Galactic Council would soon realize what their mistake had cost them. 3 weeks passed since the humans left the peace talks. Strange reports began to spread across Council space. Unknown ships appeared at the edge of sensors, then vanished when anyone got close. Voraxian outposts stopped sending messages without any warning or distress calls. Admiral Karen Martinez sat in her simple room aboard the battleship U.S. Defiant *. She looked at the glowing battle plans with her top officers. The new stealth destroyers worked better than expected. Their quantum drives left no trace in space. The Council thought our fleet had only the ships we told them about under the peace agreement, she explained, pointing to a star map where blue dots showed human attack groups. They never asked why we agreed to such bad terms. Captain Joe Reed nodded. How many Varaxian bases have we hit so far? 17 military bases and 32 supply ships, Karen said. They still don't know what's happening. They think it might be rebels or pirates. Back on Earth, Defense Secretary Frank Howard met with President Olivia Reyes in the war room deep under New Washington. Maps covered the walls showing the progress of Operation Umbra. The Varaxians are getting scared, Frank said. They've started moving their ships in groups and avoiding the areas where we've struck. Olivia looked troubled. Any response from the Council yet? Nothing official, Frank replied. Our spies say they're arguing among themselves. Some think we're behind the attacks. Others say it's impossible because they believe our technology is too simple. In a distant part of space, Commander Jorel of the Council's security force landed on Research Station 47. The station had gone silent 2 days ago. He and his team wore full armor as they walked through the empty halls. No bodies, said his second-in-command. No signs of a fight. Jorel checked the station's computers. All the research data is gone. Everything about the new shield technology. He touched the walls where tiny burn marks made a pattern. These are from human cutting tools. I've seen them before. Impossible, said his officer. Human ships can't get past our sensor nets, and how could they take the whole research team? Jorel had no answer. On the Asterisk, U.S. Defiant Asterisk, Lieutenant Sam Kelly reported to Admiral Martinez. The Special Forces team has returned from Station 47. They brought 27 Varaxian scientists with them. Karen raised her eyebrows. Any problems? No, Mom. The scientists came willingly once we showed them proof that the Varaxians were planning to kill them after their work was done. Karen walked to the lower deck where the scientists were being processed. A tall Varaxian with blue scales looked up as she entered. You are the leader, he asked. I am Admiral Martinez, she confirmed. I am Chief Scientist Krell. The Varaxian said. Your soldiers showed us evidence that our own government planned to eliminate us. Is this truly accurate? Karen handed him a datapad. These are orders signed by General Drath himself. You are developing shield technology that could protect against our new weapons. Once you finished, you would know too much about our capabilities. Krell's scales darkened with anger. We were told humans were primitive and violent, yet you rescued us instead of killing us. He looked around at his fellow scientists. We will help you. The Council must learn the truth. Meanwhile, at the Council chambers, General Drath pounded his fist on the table. Another base gone. This is not the work of pirates. This is an organized attack. Councillor Ilara remained calm. If not pirates, then who? The humans. Their ships cannot evade our detection systems. Ambassador Skital spoke quietly. What if they can? What if they have technology you don't know about? General Drath laughed. Impossible. We've monitored their development for decades. You've monitored what they wanted you to see, Skital replied. As they argued, a junior officer rushed in. Counselors, Research Station 47 is gone. Gone? Asked Ilara. What do you mean, gone? The entire station has vanished. Our sensors show nothing but empty space where it used to be. Far away, Station 47 traveled through the darkness inside a massive human carrier ship, hidden by technology the Council had never imagined possible. The silent war continued, and humans were winning. 2 months into the conflict, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. The Varaxian Empire, once the strongest military power in this part of space, had lost nearly 30% of its fleet to the human attacks. General Drath, who used to be proud and dismissive, now demanded that the Council step in. Ambassador Greg Taylor arrived at the Galactic Nexus with just one assistant. The Council expected a full team of humans ready to ask for their place back at the peace table. They were confused by such a small group. "I am not here to rejoin your council," Greg said calmly. "I am just here to set up ways for us to talk if the council wants to in the future." Councillor Ilara, desperate to stop the fighting from spreading, offered big concessions: payment for the damaged human colonies, punishment for the Varaxian Empire, and a permanent seat for humans on the council's security team. Greg listened carefully. These terms would have been good 3 months ago. "Things have changed. I will tell Earth Command what you offer, but I must tell you that any deal now must include the complete removal of all Varaxian military forces." The council chamber erupted in shouts of anger and disbelief. "Impossible," yelled General Drath. "You ask us to become defenseless." "You attacked our colonies when we were trying to talk peace," Greg replied. "You cannot be trusted with weapons." As Greg walked out, leaving shocked silence behind him, the sensors picked up a massive energy spike at the edge of the star system. A group of human battleships briefly became visible, a deliberate show of power, before disappearing again. The message was clear: humans could strike at any time, even here at the heart of Council space. Back on his ship, Greg received a secure call from President Olivia Reyes. "How did they respond?" she asked. "Exactly as expected," Greg said. "They're scared but still don't fully understand what they're facing. The Varaxians have lost more ships in 2 months than in the last 50 years of border conflicts," Olivia said. "Has that humbled them at all?" Greg shook his head. General Drath is desperate but still arrogant. He blamed everyone but himself for the situation. On Earth, Admiral Martinez met with the Joint Chiefs in the war room. She pointed to a holographic display showing the Varaxian home system. "Their inner defenses are still strong," she said, "but they're pulling ships from their outer territories to protect their core worlds. This is leaving their conquered planets vulnerable." General Steve Harris nodded. "The peoples they've oppressed for centuries are starting to rebel. 3 systems have already declared independence." "That was our hope," said Admiral Martinez. "We've been sending stealth ships to arm the resistance fighters on those worlds." Meanwhile, on the independent trade world of Meridian, Dr. Lisa Cooper prepared for the galaxy's biggest scientific conference. As Earth's top quantum physicist, she had been given permission to reveal some of human technology that had been kept secret. This was a strategic decision to show the wider galactic community just how badly the Council had underestimated human advancement. In her hotel room, Lisa practiced her presentation one last time. The equations and diagrams floating in the air showed technology far beyond what most Council species thought possible. She was nervous but excited to see the reaction. At the same time, Captain Jack Nelson led a small team on a rescue mission to a Varaxian research base. 5 human scientists were being held there, captured from a colony before the war started. Jack's team moved through the base like ghosts, their stealth suits making them nearly invisible. "Security is lighter than expected," whispered Lieutenant Diane Foster as they reached the prison section. "They've pulled troops to fight our Phantom Fleet," Jack replied. "Makes our job easier." They found the human prisoners thin but alive. One of them, Dr. Peter Grant, grabbed Jack's arm. "They were using us to understand human biology," he said urgently. "They're developing a bioweapon against Earth. We need to destroy this facility completely." Jack nodded and updated his mission plan. This was no longer just a rescue. It had become something much more important. The Grand Hall on the planet Meridian was packed with scientists from across the galaxy. They came to hear Dr. Lisa Cooper, Earth's top quantum physicist, speak. Most aliens were curious. They had always thought of humans as simple beings with basic technology. Lisa stood on the stage, her hand steady as she activated her presentation. The 3D model of the quantum displacement drive appeared above her, spinning slowly in the air. "This is what powers our newest ships," she said calmly. "We developed it 30 years ago, during the time we spent isolated after first contact went badly." The alien scientists stared in shock. The technology she showed was far beyond what the Council thought humans had. One Centauri scientist raised his hand. If you had this technology, why did you pretend to be less advanced in your dealings with the Council? Lisa smiled. We learned from our first contact that showing all your cards at once can be dangerous. Some species see advanced technology as a threat. As she continued her presentation, showing gravity manipulation devices and energy weapons that no Council ship could match, the room grew increasingly quiet. These weren't just small improvements on known technology. These were completely new approaches that most alien scientists had never even considered. While you dismissed us as barely able to travel in space, she concluded, we were preparing for the possibility that talks might fail. We hoped they wouldn't. We were disappointed. Meanwhile, Captain Jack Nelson and his team moved quickly through the Varaxian research base. The 5 rescued human scientists followed behind them, weak but determined to escape. We need to reach the main lab, Dr. Peter Grant insisted. They store the bioweapon samples there. Jack checked the base map on his wrist computer. 2 levels down. Heavy security likely. They used an emergency stairwell to avoid the main corridors. Jack's stealth suit made him nearly invisible, but the rescued scientists had no such protection. They had to move carefully. When they reached the lab level, Jack peeked around the corner. 4 armed Varaxian guards stood outside the main door. I count 4, he whispered to his team. Standard formation. Lieutenant Diane Foster checked her stun pistol. We take them quick and quiet. The team moved with practiced precision. In less than 10 seconds, all 4 guards were unconscious, and Jack was hacking the lab door. Inside, they found what they feared. Clear containers held a glowing blue liquid. Dr. Grant pointed at them with a shaking hand. That's it. A virus designed to attack human DNA specifically. 1 container could kill everyone on Earth. Jack didn't hesitate. Plant the charges. We're destroying this entire facility. As his team set explosive devices throughout the lab, Jack sent an encrypted message to Admiral Martinez. Bioweapon confirmed. Target being neutralized. Request extraction. Back on Meridian, Lisa's presentation had finished. She was surrounded by scientists from dozens of species, all asking questions about human technology. A tall, insect-like being pushed through the crowd. I am Council Science Director Xylex, he said, his voice clicking through his translator. Why reveal these secrets now? It's no longer in Earth's interest to hide our capabilities, Lisa replied. The Varaxians attacked us believing we were weak. The Council ignored our pleas because they thought we were primitive. Both assumptions were wrong. News of human technological advancement spread quickly across the galaxy. Many species who had previously dismissed humans began to reconsider their positions. The Arcturus Collective and the Rigelian Confederacy, both powerful groups, announced they were opening direct talks with Earth, bypassing the Council completely. On the Varaxian research base, Jack's team finished setting the explosives. They moved quickly toward the landing pad where their stealth shuttle waited. 5 minutes until detonation, Diane reported. As they reached the shuttle, alarms began to sound throughout the base. Their presence had been discovered. Everyone aboard now. Jack ordered as Varaxian soldiers appeared at the far end of the landing pad, weapons raised. The shuttle's engines roared to life as the first energy blasts hit its shields. Jack took the controls, lifting off as more Varaxian troops poured onto the pad. Hold on, he called to his team and the rescued scientists as he pushed the shuttle to maximum acceleration. Behind them, the research base erupted in a massive fireball, taking the deadly bioweapon with it. The news of the destroyed bioweapon facility spread quickly through the Varaxian Empire. Supreme Commander Vrax, who had replaced the failed General Drath, paced in his war room. His scaled skin had turned a dark purple with rage. They found our secret project and destroyed it, he hissed to his officers. The humans are more dangerous than we thought. His top general looked nervous. Sir, the Council has strict rules against bioweapons. If they learn what we were doing, the Council is useless. Vrax slammed his fist on the table. They can't even find the human fleet that attacks us everywhere. We will solve this problem ourselves. Vrax pointed to a star map. Deploy the reserve fleet to these positions. We will use our last weapon. Meanwhile, on the human intelligence ship *US Shadow *, Officer Samantha Wright monitored Voraxian communications. She had been working undercover with the Centauri for months. When she decoded Vrax's latest orders, she froze. "They're deploying planet killers," she said to her captain. "Weapons that can destroy an entire world. They're planning to hit Earth directly." Captain Ben Morris immediately sent an emergency message to Earth Command. "This changes everything. We can't stay in the shadows anymore." President Olivia Reyes called an emergency meeting in the war room beneath New Washington. Admiral Martinez and the other military leaders gathered around the table. "The Voraxians have crossed the final line," Olivia said. "They plan to use planet killers against Earth. We must stop them." Admiral Martinez nodded grimly. "I recommend Protocol Omega, full military action to prevent deployment." "That means revealing our entire fleet," said General Harris. "No more stealth, no more hiding." "We have no choice," the President replied. "Authorize Protocol Omega." Across space, human ships receive the same order. Protocol Omega is active. Proceed to attack coordinates. No stealth required. For the first time, the human fleet dropped their cloaking devices and appeared all at once. Over 200 advanced warships, previously invisible to Voraxian sensors, materialized near Vorax Prime, the heart of the Voraxian Empire. Supreme Commander Vrax couldn't believe the reports. Impossible. Where did they get so many ships? Our intelligence said they had only 20. The Battle of Vorax Prime began as the largest space conflict in 50 years. The Voraxian Defense Fleet, still powerful despite earlier losses, fought hard against the human attackers. Energy weapons flashed across space. Explosions lit up the darkness as ships from both sides were hit. Captain Eric Johnson commanded the heavy cruiser *US Intrepid * at the front of the human assault. His mission was to destroy the planet killer weapons before they could be launched. "Target the orbital weapons platforms," he ordered his crew. "Ignore the defending ships unless they directly threaten us." The Intrepid took heavy fire as it pushed through the Voraxian defenses. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as shields began to fail. "Shields down to 30%, reported Lieutenant Amy Fisher. "Engine 2 is damaged." Eric gripped his chair as the ship shook from another hit. "Stay on course. Those planet killers have to be destroyed." The battle raged for 14 hours. Human ships, with their advanced technology, proved superior to the Voraxian vessels, but the sheer number of defenders made progress slow and costly. The Council, watching the battle through long-range sensors, finally saw the full extent of human military power, and how carefully it had been used until now. Despite having weapons that could destroy Vorax Prime completely, human forces targeted only military installations, avoiding civilian areas. On the Intrepid Eric Johnson watched as his ship's weapons finally broke through the defenses around the main weapon platform. "Fire everything we have," he ordered. Bright energy beams shot from the Intrepid striking the massive Voraxian platform. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the platform began to break apart in a series of explosions. "Target destroyed," Amy reported, her voice tired but relieved. Eric allowed himself a small smile. "Send word to Admiral Martinez. Primary objective complete." Across the battlefield, similar reports came in as other human ships destroyed the remaining planet killers. The Voraxian fleet, seeing their superweapons destroyed and facing an enemy far more powerful than expected, began to retreat. Supreme Commander Vrax watched in disbelief as his forces fell back. How did we not know their true strength? His intelligence officer had no answer. The Voraxians, like the Council, had completely underestimated humanity, and now They were paying the price for that mistake. The Galactic Council chambers erupted in chaos. Representatives from 37 species shouted over each other, demanding answers. The massive battle of Vorax Prime had been seen by observers across the galaxy. Everyone had questions. Why were humans described as weak in our reports? Demanded the Regellian ambassador, his tentacles waving angrily. How could the Voraxians develop illegal planet killers under Council supervision? Asked another representative. Who benefits from this conflict? Called a third voice. Councillor Ilara tried to maintain order, but the chamber was beyond her control. For the first time in centuries, the Council's authority was being openly questioned by its members. Senior Councillor Patricia Davis, representing the Arcturian Collective, stood up. The room quieted as she activated a holographic display. I have evidence of corruption at the highest levels of our government, she announced. Her display showed financial records. Several council members, including former chairperson Ilara, received large payments from Voraxian mining companies in exchange for blocking human complaints. The room erupted again. Ilara tried to deny the accusations, but the evidence was clear. The council had been bought by Voraxian interests. They had ignored human pleas for help because they were paid to look the other way. Meanwhile, Admiral Karen Martinez met secretly with representatives from 12 non-aligned species aboard the U.S. Defiant Asterisk. These species had asked for Earth's protection, no longer trusting the Council to keep them safe. We cannot guarantee your safety if you remain within Council space, Karen told them honestly. But we can offer technology and training to help you defend yourselves. The alien representatives looked at each other. The tall, blue-skinned leader of the Proxima Collective spoke first. For decades, the Council has favored the strong over the weak. The Voraxians took our outer colonies, and the Council did nothing. Now we see the same happen to humans, but you fought back. We want to learn from you. On Earth, the War Cabinet debated their next moves. Director of Intelligence Paul Garcia presented several possible plans for ending the conflict. We have three main options, he explained. First, we continue military pressure until the Voraxians surrender completely. Second, we accept the Council's increasing desperate peace offers. Third, we help create a new system to replace the Council. President Olivia Rice looked around the table at her advisors. We didn't start this conflict wanting to change galactic politics, she reminded them. But we cannot go back to a system that failed us so badly. Secretary Frank Howard nodded. The Council knew about the attacks on our colonies and did nothing. Worse, they took bribes to ignore our evidence. They cannot be trusted. What about the Voraxians? Asked General Harris. Their fleet is crippled but not destroyed. What do we do with them? Paul Garcia showed images of protests happening across Voraxian worlds. Their people are turning against their government. They were told they were winning the war until our fleet appeared all at once. Now they know they were lied to. Supreme Commander Vrax is losing control. Back in the Council chambers, the arguments continued for hours. Many species began calling for a complete restructuring of galactic governance. Others wanted to maintain the old system, but with new leaders. Ambassador Skatal of the Centauri, who had been humans' only ally in the Council, watched the chaos with mixed feelings. He had warned them for years that the system was corrupt, but no one had listened. Now it was falling apart. His assistant handed him a message. It was from Earth. President Rice was inviting all species to a conference on the neutral planet Harmony to discuss a new framework for galactic cooperation. Will you attend, Ambassador? His assistant asked. Skull nodded slowly. The old system is dying. We must help build something better to replace it. As representatives argued in the Council chamber, more species received the same invitation from Earth. One by one, they began to leave the chamber. The Galactic Council, which had ruled space for nearly 1,000 years, was losing its power by the minute. Supreme Commander Vrax, watching from a secure bunker on a Voraxian moon, realized that his empire was finished. Not just defeated in battle, but rejected by the very system that had protected it for centuries. And all because they had underestimated humans. 6 months after leaving the peace talks, Earth sent out invitations to all spacefaring species. On the neutral planet Harmony, humans established the framework for a new organization of worlds, one based on fair defense, technology sharing, and real accountability. The planet Harmony lived up to its name. Its blue oceans and green forests made visitors feel welcome. In a newly built conference center overlooking a calm lake, representatives from 29 species gathered to discuss the future. Dr. Nancy White, Earth's top expert on alien politics, led the writing of the Harmony Accords. The document directly addressed the problems of the Council system, especially how it let powerful species bully weaker ones. Working together across the stars means nothing if we don't have rules that protect everyone equally, she explained to the gathered delegates. The Voraxian attacks on our colonies were just one example of a bigger problem. Most of the aliens nodded in agreement. Many of them had suffered similar treatment from the Voraxians or other powerful species over the years. The Harmony conference room was designed to be different from the old council chamber. Instead of floating platforms arranged by rank and power, everyone sat at a round table as equals. Earth had deliberately chosen this setup to show their vision for the future. Meanwhile, the remaining council loyalists, led by the few Voraxian representatives who still had power and a small group of allies, tried to ruin the conference. They spread lies about human plans and even attempted to attack the delegates. Lieutenant Ryan Peters led the security team protecting the conference. His team caught 3 Voraxian agents trying to plant bombs in the conference center's power system. "They're getting desperate," Ryan told his second-in-command after the Voraxians were arrested. "They know their old system is dying." In the conference room, Nancy White faced tough questions from some delegates who were still unsure about human intentions. "How do we know Earth won't use its power to control this new confederation, just like the Voraxians controlled the Council?" asked a small, furry representative from a newly spacefaring world. Nancy smiled. "A fair question. That's why the Harmony Accords include an important rule. No single species can hold more than 15% of leadership positions. Power must be shared." Ambassador Skull, who had left his council position to join the Harmony Conference, stood up to support her. "I have known humans longer than most of you. They could have destroyed the Voraxian homeworld to end this conflict. Instead, they only targeted military bases, avoiding civilian areas. That shows their true character." As word of the Harmony Accords spread across space, public opinion turned strongly against the old council. Even species that traditionally supported the Voraxians began to call their representatives home from the council. On the 3rd day of the conference, exciting news arrived. 3 more council members, the Proxima Alliance, the Ta Collective, and the Denid Union, had officially left the council and asked to join the Harmony talks. Dr. White welcomed them warmly. "The door is open to all who wish to build a better future." That evening, Nancy met with President Olivia Reyes, who had arrived secretly to observe the conference's progress. "It's working better than we hoped," Nancy said. "Almost 30 species have signed on already." Olivia looked out at the stars visible through the window. "When we left those peace talks 6 months ago, I never imagined we would end up creating a new galactic order." "The Council's mistake wasn't just ignoring our evidence," Nancy replied. "It was believing that we would accept being ignored. Humans have never been good at that." As they talked, ships arrived in orbit above Harmony, bringing more delegates from across the galaxy. The old power was fading, and a new one was taking shape, one where Earth would play a central but deliberately limited role, leading through example rather than force. The former Council Security Chief, Commander Jorel, watched the proceedings from the back of the room. He had resigned his position in protest after learning of the Council's corruption. Now he was here as an observer. "They've built something impressive in just 6 months," he said to Ambassador Skull as they stood together. "Humans have always been good builders," Skull replied. "The Council thought they were dealing with simple, primitive creatures. Instead, they found the architects of a new age. 1 year after humans walked out of the peace talks, the galaxy looked very different. The Voraxian Empire, once the strongest power, had lost much of its territory. Many planets they had ruled broke free and declared independence. The Galactic Council, which had governed space for centuries, met for the last time. With most of its members gone, the Council voted to end itself. In its place, the Harmony Confederation became the main governing body for space, with Earth playing an important but carefully limited role. Admiral Karen Martinez, now serving as Earth's representative to the Confederation Defense Committee, watched the ceremony for a new joint patrol fleet. The ships and crews came from 12 different species, including humans. "We never wanted to show our strength through war," she told Skal, who was now the Confederation's first coordinator. "But sometimes respect can only be earned through standing firm." Skal nodded, his golden eyes reflecting the stars visible through the viewscreen. "Many species feared humans after seeing your military power, but then they saw how you used that power to protect rather than conquer. That earned their trust." The new patrol ships fired their engines in perfect formation, their lights blinking in salute as they passed the station. Each ship had been built using shared technology, combining the best designs from many worlds. Meanwhile, on the former Council capital world, a small group from Earth arrived to pick up the last human diplomats. Captain Susan Miller, whose walkout had started all these events, returned to the chamber where it began. The room, once grand and impressive, now felt empty and unimportant. Susan walked slowly around the chamber, remembering that day 1 year ago. The anger she had felt then was gone, replaced by a sense of accomplishment. Earth had not only protected itself, but had helped create a better system for everyone. As she turned to leave, a Voraxian diplomat approached her. His scales were dull gray, showing his advanced age and reduced status. Susan recognized him as one of General Drath's advisors from the peace talks. "Captain Miller," he said quietly, "we should have listened to you." Susan looked at him carefully. "Yes, you should have. The Council's mistake was thinking your patience meant weakness," the Voraxian continued. "We didn't understand that humans were holding back, not because you couldn't fight, but because you didn't want to." "War is always the last option," Susan replied. "We tried to make you understand that our colonies needed protection. You dismissed us. You left us no choice." The Voraxian lowered his head. "My species has lost much. Our empire is gone. We are now just one voice among many in your confederation." "Not my confederation," Susan corrected him. "It belongs to all member species equally. That's the difference between it and the Council. No one rules over the others." Outside the chamber, Lieutenant Alan Brooks waited with the rest of Susan's team. "Ready to go home, Captain?" he asked. Susan nodded. "More than ready." Their shuttle lifted off, rising above the former Council towers, now being repurposed as offices for the new Confederation regional headquarters. Susan watched the buildings grow smaller below them. They were monuments to a failed system that had underestimated humanity until it was too late. Back on Earth, President Olivia Rice addressed the United Nations. The room was packed with representatives from every human nation, eager to hear about the new galactic reality. "1 year ago, we faced a difficult choice," she said, "to accept being ignored and attacked, or to show the galaxy our true strength. We chose the latter, but we used that strength wisely." She activated a display showing the Harmony Confederation banner, a circle of stars on a blue background. 34 species have now joined the Confederation. Trade has increased by 200%. Former enemies now work together. And all because we refused to be dismissed as unimportant. The audience applauded loudly. Humans had gone from being seen as primitive newcomers to respected leaders in just 1 year. That evening, Susan Miller stood on the balcony of her apartment in New Washington, looking up at the stars. So much had changed. The galaxy was safer now, more balanced, all because humans had walked away from a table where they weren't being heard. Sometimes, she thought, the most powerful statement isn't what you say, but when you choose to leave the conversation. The Galactic Council had learned that lesson too late, but the rest of the galaxy had heard humanity's message loud and clear. The universe would never underestimate humans again.